Everything we do is going to be about winning. Okay, we're going to learn to do things the right way, and that's the only way we're going to do them. Because if it doesn't help us, we're not doing it, man. That's just as simple as it gets. Win the Super Bowl.
That's
I
good.
mean it too. You know, one of the things that the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong.
Hey, football fans. Welcome to the Washington Command Center, where you can come for the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Commander football. We're starting off this rebrand from the Command Center with a bit of a nuke as far as hot takes go. Honestly, it's a little bit of a rant. But before I get into that and piss some of y'all off, if I could ask you to please hit that like button, subscribe down below, leave me a comment. Let me know how I'm doing out here. And I promise I'll keep it 100 with you lovely people. Keep the clickbait to an absolute minimum. No sugarcoating. For better or worse, how I legit feel. And lately, that has to do with all this talk about the quarterback position. Commanders fans are desperate. Even the smart ones out there are calling for these big moves at the position. And we got our new name in place, and now people want to jump straight to Super Bowl contention. And in their desperation and impatience, they aren't thinking these things out. And in most cases, they're calling for trades that would hurt the team. Now, I touched on it in my Marcus Mariota video about the players we'd stand to lose over the next 2 years if we made one of these big trades. But an even dumber trade has entered the arena. Anybody considering Jimmy G at $27 million for any draft capital is an insane person. They're a danger to themselves and others, and most of all, this team. Just keep them away. If Ron is legit considering Jimmy G, fire his ass right now. I've been up and down on Ron, but mostly supportive. But if he is considering trading anything for Jimmy G and paying him $27 million, empty out his desk, show him to the unemployment line, don't even give him a chance to explain himself, just give him his walking papers. And if you guys think Jimmy G would be a good idea, please don't let his win-loss record fool you. He was just along for the ride for all of that. We talk about the importance of the quarterback position, and we assume they're responsible for the team's wins and losses, but that is definitely not the case with Jimmy Garoppolo. He just provides a level of negative impact that can be overcame by the team around him and the genius of Kyle Shanahan. That's what he does. I'm not going to dive any deeper into that, but I'm just going to say that if you're a Washington fan, if you're a Commanders fan, and you want Jimmy G, I'm just going to assume all hope is lost for you. There's no hope for you. Not even going to argue anymore. Jimmy G is a horrible idea. Outside of that dumb idea, people are still standing on this Russell Wilson trade. Like it'll solve all of our problems and we'll win never-ending Super Bowls. All we got to do is bring Russ here. Never-ending Super Bowls, just like Russ did with the Seahawks. Wait. Oh, yeah, that's right. He only won one with the Seahawks. And that was on the back of one of the greatest defenses of all time. Listen, our defense has a lot of potential, but it ain't no Legion of Boom. And it ain't going to be in the next 2 seasons. Especially if we don't have first-round picks or cap space for free agency. We'll end up losing pieces of the defense we currently have. And getting worse, and that's before we have to re-sign him in 2 years for presumably even more money. Now, while this cap situation isn't as impossible as I thought it was, because Seattle's going to have to eat half of it over the next 2 years, and that only leaves it at a hit of 25 and 27. That's a Jimmy G money. That 27 going into 2023 is what really kills us. We're projected to have 18th cap space in the league as far as 2023 goes. We're projected at $90 million. Before we even go through the draft this year, we'll sign players on this year in the draft, and their contracts will be on next year, so that number will go down even more. That $90 million will be even less. And with that $90 million, we're looking at free agents that we have, like Terry, who's projected to be asking for 20.4, so take 20 out of 90. Sweat, who's projected to be asking for 17.3, take that out of that. Payne, 15 mil, just guessing. Flowers, at least 11, go ahead and take that off of there. Schweitzer, 8, Holcomb at the low side, 6, and Ioannidis probably at least 8. And that's with letting the other 8, depth guys that are free agents walk too. That's what we're down to. That's about $4 million, which is enough to sign our rookie draft class next year, and that's it. And like I said, it doesn't include our draft class from this year. So all that money is taken up of $4 million. Now, if you put Russ's 27 in there, who's leaving? Do we get rid of his whole line there? Flowers, 11 gone. Schweitzer, 8 gone. Like, what do we do? Who goes? What do we have to get rid of to keep him? Because we don't have the space for him even at half price. And people talk like the cap's imaginary because a couple of teams like the Saints work some voodoo magic to get under on the COVID year, and shit was lax anyway. Well, the cap was real enough for Sean Payton to say,
fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks.
As far as Russ goes, back to Russ, just as a player, at 33 years old, he's won 1 Super Bowl when he was in the perfect situation, on his rookie contract, with the best defense in football, and he still got 1 Super Bowl. And in that Super Bowl, he scored 2 touchdowns, so 14 out of 43 points. And between the safety and the pick 6 the defense had, they almost accounted for as many points as him. Add the 4 turnovers they caused and the 8 points they held Peyton Manning's Broncos to, and you get a lot clearer picture of where the biggest impact was made in that game. Russ didn't win that game. Russ was not the reason they won that Super Bowl. And then they paid him, which was the kiss of death for their Super Bowl hopes. Oh, not to mention the following year, they go back to the Super Bowl and he throws an interception that loses the Super Bowl for him. So his pay, kiss of death, he got that contract, and it's still enough to be top 5 in the league. And in the 6 years that followed Russ getting paid, they haven't made it past. They've only made it to the divisional round twice, losing both times. They've never been back to the NFC Championship. And Russ's contract, or preparing for Russ's contract, caused them to slowly bleed away all the little pieces that added up to put that defense over the top and make them dominant and just make the team Super Bowl worthy altogether. You had Malcolm Smith that they couldn't afford to keep. Could be like Holcomb. Bruce Irvin, they couldn't afford to keep him. He left right after Russ got paid. Sounds like Montez. Brandon Mebane, they couldn't afford to keep him. Sound like Deron Payne. Now, Brandon Browner left, and he's, not really much comparable to Ioannidis, but you get the picture. He couldn't afford to keep his protection either. Russ Okung, Flowers, Max Unger, Schweitzer, J.R. Sweezy, whatever. You get the picture. He bled away. Him getting paid bled away all the pieces that kept them Super Bowl worthy. And even having 2 years of half pay, us only having to pay half, it puts us in a spot where we can't retain or add talent in free agency. We're going to lose people. Like I broke it down for you a while ago, we're going to have to make some decisions and lose some people. So this team as it stands isn't going to get any better. Can we win with this team? Because we don't have a way to make it better. The third year hits. Once the third year hits, we're going to have to pay him the whole $42 million. Like, do we do that? Do we pay him the $42 million that would completely gut this team? Or do we send him on his merry way in spite all that we've traded away for him? Even though that might be the smartest thing. Just let him go when it's time to pay him $42 million. I'm sorry. I'm just not in favor of trading for Russell Wilson. He has one Super Bowl win on the back of the Legion of Boom nearly 10 years ago. I think the money will gut this team. I don't think we have the current team in place that he could win with. And I just think it does way more harm than good. I also don't really have an interest in trading away 3 first-round picks and paying the type of money that would cause us to lose some of our homegrown talent to the only guy that Dak Prescott has ever beaten a playoff game. Not interested in doing that. Dak Prescott was he's 1-3 in the playoffs. That one is good old Russ. And I really do not want Dallas Cowboys fans to have that to say to us every weekend. It's deeper than that, but still, that's embarrassing. You gave Dak Prescott his only playoff win, Russ. Good job. So, I'm just not for a bowl in a short window. I want sustained success. I think we have the coaches for it, even if us fans are fickle and we love them or hate them, depending on whether we won or lost that week. I think we have a great foundation built. I think we're doing it the right way through the draft and with high value, low cost free agents, like our offensive line, completely built like that. I think Russ or any top 10 paid veteran quarterback would be the wrong move. Jumping ahead for the quarterback past the overall level of development of the team is a bad idea. Quarterback is the highest paid position in the NFL. And like I said, even with Seattle paying half and leaving us at only 25 and 27, it stunts all routes to improvement. We lose draft picks and we don't have the money to sign any free agents or even our own players. And we're in a great spot to retain the great players that we've drafted or developed. And we could also add more cheap talent through the draft and free agency because where we are cap-wise, not paying a high dollar quarterback. I think Mariota at $8 million perfectly fits the low cost, high value approach, like Leno, Flowers, and Schweitzer. Our money would also, that cheap of a contract would also let us do more in free agency, like hopefully bring in Justin Reed, the free safety from the Texans, or DJ Reed, the cornerback from Seattle, Connor Williams, the guard. OJ Howard's out there, and he's projected at like $2.2 million. If that's real, if Spot Rack is close, we got to do that. We wouldn't be able to do that. Well, that might be the only thing we could do if we got Russ, somebody for $2 million, or Travis Fulgham for like $1 million. I think we use our leftover cap to extend our important upcoming free agents. We can't do that if we get. But I know the fans want something shiny and new, and they don't view Mariota that way. Well, a rookie quarterback would be even better as an option price-wise if there was one worth drafting. And that's tough in this class. A lot of people are down on this class. But I think maybe there is, a quarterback in this draft worth taking. And I'm starting to really warm up to the idea of Sam Howell in the draft. Now, after last season, this guy was seen as a possible number 1 overall pick. It was him and Spencer Rattler. That was the argument going into this season. Spencer Rattler just crapped out. But Sam Howell just had a rough season. And him being projected as a possible number 1 overall pick is something none of the other quarterbacks in this class can say. Not Willis, not Pickett, not Ritter. Nobody was saying that about any of them. Going into the season, that was the talk, and then Howell lost all of his weapons and his protection, and he had a rough but valiant season. And then the questions started because of the rough season. And I'm guilty myself, giving in the recency bias with Pickett, ignoring the 2 amazing seasons Howell had before, and also ignoring the 4 mediocre seasons Pickett had. And I fell into the "what have you done for me lately" thought, and I should have listened to that scout mentality and thought about what he could do. Show me what he can do instead of what he can't. And we all saw what he could do when he had weapons in 2019 and 2020 against Power 5 competition. I mean, no quarterback does well when you take away his weapons and his protection. It's basically the same argument for why I think Mariota could work here. He's never had good weapons or protection. But we saw when Howell had weapons, we saw a possible number 1 overall pick with just a little help around it. And we could have that here, like with what we have. With Howell, we don't just get a huge upgrade at the quarterback position. We also upgrade our rookie wide receiver from last year, De'Ami Brown. He floundered because of Heineke's weak arm. With Howell, De'Ami's average depth per reception for their 2 years together was 20.2 yards. That's insane. That average is insane. That's Burrow Chase. That's a Burrow Chase type of connection. And everybody in the league is trying to chase that, pun intended. You got Tua and Waddle happening out there. You got Hurts and Devontae. Everybody's trying to reignite this college chemistry, and we could do it and they have the legit, like, look at that 20.2 yards. That is crazy. Now, everybody is impressed by Malik's arm, but Howell himself is a deep ball monster. He's right there with Malik. And he puts it on the money, deep, time and time again, against Power 5 competition, unlike Malik, who also had some accuracy and timing issues against Group of 5 competition. In 2020, when Howell had De'Ami and Daz Newsome, who's actually a scrub that Sam made look really good, and he had a running back set up kind of like ours, Howell led all of college football in 2020 in completions over 20 yards and touchdowns over 20 yards. He had 66 completions over 20 yards and he had 32 touchdowns over 20 yards. He's a deep ball machine. He also had 59 big time throws. That's PFF's metric for like deep balls into tight windows, just hard to complete passes, spectacular passes. He had 59, which led all of college football. In Washington, with us Commanders, he not only brings that Burrow Chase kind of chemistry with the Army, but he also gets a massive upgrade over Daz Newsome with Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel is like the Superman version of Daz Newsome. Terry is basically an elite do-it-all weapon that Sam then gets to add to that arsenal that he's already used to. A Diami and a super-duper Newsome, plus he gets a receiver better than both of them put together, basically. Gets to add that to his arsenal. He gets 2 dual-threat tight ends, maybe a third if we could bring OJ in for cheap. Then Antonio Gibson being like a faster version of the tackle-breaking beast Javonte Williams. And if we bring JD back, he'd have a similar weapon as he did with Michael Carter. But I would also love for us to grab Ty Chandler, his current running back, late in the draft, and just to help him feel more at home. Chandler's a bigger, stronger version of JD within the tackles, like he's stronger inside the tackles, and he's a legit downfield receiving, like he has legit downfield receiving potential. Like this guy can run routes and track the ball deep down the field. Now with how everybody wants Russell Wilson, well, Mike Renner from PFF has comped Sam Howell to Russell Wilson because of his arm talent, the fact that he's built like a running back, and just like Russ, he has the contact balance of a running back. Possibly he's possibly even better at breaking tackles and stuff than Russ. Like Malik Willis led college football in forced missed tackles at a rate of 0.6 per attempt. Also, that is against Power 5 competition. Group of 5 competition. Sam Howell was right behind him at 0.48 against Power 5. Sam's 0.48 was the same as his former teammate Javonte Williams had in 2020. And Williams had the highest forced missed tackle rate of any running back in college. And Sam was right there with him on forced missed tackle completion. And it wasn't just against college competition for Javonte, because he's continued it into the NFL this season, leading all running backs in the NFL in forced missed tackle. So Sam was on the same team as Javonte, making the same dudes miss and breaking the same dudes tackle. So I think Sam's, tackle breaking or force missed tackling will translate to the NFL, and it'll be something really special for us at the quarterback position. He might not be as fast as Malik, but I think he's a little tankier, and I just think he's kind of like basically a mini Josh Allen or a king size Russ. Either way, we can get him for 5 years on the cheap, build a hell of a team around him, and he also fits the offense well. There's just so many wins. I'm done fighting it. I'd love for us to reclaim Mariota on the cheap, but Sam Howell might be the truth. All that arm to throw to all that speed, and can carry and break tackles on his own behind that line. It just makes too much damn sense. I'm done. I'm not going to argue anymore. If we get Mariota, I'm thrilled. If we get Sam Howell in the draft, I might even be more happy. Either way, no to Russ, no to crazy trades. Either get what you can get in free agency or draft this guy. If you can't get this guy in draft, I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I got there. Let me know what you think, what we should do. Are you up for trading away 3 first-round picks for the guy that Dak beat in the playoffs? Is that what you want to do? Let me know, guys. And if you watch this long, as always, much love from the Washington Command Center. Peace.